Hi, my name is Cindy Rang with the Fabric Patch in Ephrata, Washington, and I'm just going to share a very quick tip about nestled seams. So nestled seams is a common term in quilting, and I think that we've used it multiple times in previous videos, but we keep getting comments of people saying, now what exactly is it that you're talking about with that? So we thought we would just show you really quick. This quilt behind me is called Split 9 Patch. It's important, like in this one, to know how to do that because this is just a 9 patch block where you've got some lights, darks, and some half square triangles and a focus piece in the center. So let's go up close and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the reason that nestled seams are super important is because when you have blocks that are all going to kind of line up and be together like this 4 patch in a 9 patch in a 4 patch, we want to make sure that all of these squares are right, all of these corners come together. And so if you look at it up close, what you see is that they just sort of lock in place there. And this is what a nestled seam is. So I'm going to show you on a block that's not yet completed. So what will happen is when we sew these together, you've seen us do this before, where when we sew a seam together, we'll butt them up together and kind of keep going, which gives us this tiny little thread. If you decide to not do that and you want to do it individually, it doesn't make any difference. You're still going to do it the same way, which is we tend to press to the dark. So you can see this side is pressed this way. This other one is pressed this way. So then what happens is right here, this will just lock into place. And what actually happens is it just will fit right in there perfectly. You can put your little binder clip in there just to make sure, but truthfully it's really not going to slip much. I usually will just turn around and I'll go ahead and just start quilting and start sewing that seam together because it will just lock right into place so that I have those perfect corners every time. I feel like if you've been quilting for any length of time, you probably already know this. So let me show you one thing that you may not know. So these are some blocks from Brianna's double-decker quilt pattern that she just showed this week. And so when she was laying these out to show different patterns, one of the things she showed was the possibility of having this running pattern. But what she had mentioned in the video was the idea of nestling all of those seams and that it might be difficult because we're sort of used to this sort of a thing where we're nestling straight lines, but nestling things that are running on the diagonal can be a little bit more difficult because if I flip this over and you look at it, you can see that those seams are really not nestling, right? They're in fact going entirely opposite directions. So I'm going to show you the way that I do it. I think that there's a couple ways to do it, but this is what I do. One thing you want to know is you want to know the secret about binder clips. Let me see if I can find one that's easy to see. Okay, so I want to show you the lines, and I don't know that you're able to see them very well, but on the back side there are 3 lines. There is a 1/4 inch, and then there's a 1/16, a 1/4 inch, and a 3/8. And then if you flip it over, up to the middle is a 1/2 inch. And if you can't quite see that, on the back of your Wonder Clips package, it also reminds you of that. This is one of those things that people, maybe not everybody is fully aware of, but let me show you how you use that. And again, these are Wonder Clips, so they come in a package of 50, and I feel like you never have enough of them, or they come in a package of 10. I feel like I use Wonder Clips more often than I use pins because I'll always clip things instead of pin things. It just works really well. But let me show you why it's kind of a good thing to know. I'm going to put my pin a 1/4 inch down, and then I'm going to, come over, go a 1/4 inch down so that I know that this seam right here is lining up with this seam. Well, then you're going to say, well, how do I know that I'm a 1/4 inch away? Well, that's where this comes in. So then what I'm going to do is first I line that up so I know that that's where my 1/4 inch is. So I'm nice and close. I can kind of eyeball those. I see that that's right where it is. And then I can just double check because then when I put that on there, my line lines up with my edge. I actually leave that pin there for a second until I do all of them, but then I feel pretty comfortable after I've done all of them. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just, you know, and if it's easier for you to see on this side, to know that this is 1/4 of an inch away, so that's going to line up right there. I'm going to come in here. That one's going to line up right there. So there's my 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to butt that right up next to the needle, and I'm going to do all of them. And then when it's time for me to sew, I am just going to go ahead and just pull that pin out, so that when I go to my sewing machine and I sew, I know that as soon as I come up there, that's what I'm lining it up with, is the edge. I should be on my 1/4 of an inch anyway, but I know that this seam is lined up with the seam underneath, and I'm going to have that perfect nestled diagonal seam, which can be kind of tricky to get. So. All right, so that's it. Super quick, down and dirty. I just wanted to give a little tidbit on that. We've had a lot of comments after the video saying, wait, what was she talking about? This is it. So anyway, totally worth it. Super, super quick. If you don't have these already, every quilter and sewist does need Wonder Clips in their sewing tools. So thanks a lot. Thank you for watching our video. We invite you to leave a comment, hit the like button, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. You can also visit our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest pages, or find all of those things and our online store at fabricpatch.net.